Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Colorado Comic Book Kid, coming to you almost live from the Centennial State. You can call me Colorado, you can call me the Kid, just don't call me late for dinner. Thanks for coming back to check out another episode of the Weekly Pull List Review, the show where we review weekly what books the list pulled. I'm excited to do today's video. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping. I am not doing my recording in the middle of night, so let's get to it. On a scale from huge to humble, this week's haul is about halfway, coming in with 24 books and a couple variants included in that count. So let's get right to it and check those out. As always, leave your comments below and let me know what you think. First things first, let's start with this week's firsts. First up, I grabbed Project Superpowers. This is a story of an exciting new superhero team. Looks like they're in a whole new superhero universe. It does take place on Earth, but establishing who those characters are, what their powers are, and how they're coming together. That's what's going on here in issue 1. And the team seems to be receiving a new member here on the last page, a little bit of a tease. I don't remember issue 0 very well. I may have to go back and reread that. There was a little bit of characters set up, plot establishment that made me want to continue with issue 1 here. It hooked me there at the end. I want to know what's going on with the superheroes, what happened to the power across the globe. Anytime we have those apocalyptic, lose power across the globe type events at the beginning of a story, in the first chapter of a story, you can usually count me in for a few more chapters to see what's going on. Was it alien space bats? Did someone trip over the cord? Maybe we just ran out of coal finally. I don't know. Let's figure it out. I bet superpowers have something to do with it, though. 2 other issue number 1s that were not in my box when I went to the store today. There's been a lot of chatter about it, and I just want to say my comments are going to be sincere, so the rest of you need to let it go. I want to go outside and build a snowman, and I want Elsa to make sure the world's frozen enough for me to do that, because that's how we get our jollies here in Colorado. Lots of frozen land and lots of snowmen. So Elsa, she's a bit of a hero to me. I was super excited to see that book. I've got cover A and cover B on their way to the house. We'll be showing those off when we get them. In the meantime, enjoy the digital version on the screen. Also, in terms of number 1s that are on their way to the house that were not in my pull box this week, Leviathan number 1. It's dragons, it's magic, it's high schoolers up to no good. It looks entertaining. Sounds like the story of my high school. Minus the dragons. Dragons didn't show up to college. This week, first up from Marvel, we've got Mark Waid, Ant-Man and the Wasp, art by Javier Garrón. I think this is a 5-issue series, so this is the second to last book, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll see what happens when they figure out how to be the right size. It's kind of like the Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, right? They're too small, they're too big. Hopefully we can get just right here at some point in time. Next up, Batman number 52. This continues the Cold Days storyline with Bruce Wayne being sequestered in jury duty, trying to figure out if Batman got the right guy or not with Mr. Freeze. Captain America number 2. Steve still trying to find his place in the world, defeat the power elite in DC, and art mimics life, mimics art. Just goes in one circle. Cosmic Ghost Rider number 2, Donny Cates. For being such a dominant feature on the cover, I think we saw the sharks in 1, maybe 2 panels. They were alive in 1 panel, dead in a second panel, perhaps. I am enjoying the Baby Thanos storyline here. Oh, was glad to see Sky Baby show up there at the end. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a read. Excited to see where Cates is taking this story and how it interacts with the rest of the universe. If you haven't seen Professor Bill's video over there at Comic Book University where he's interviewing Donnie, highly recommend you go take a view. Deadpool number 3, Scotty Young. This finishes the story arc. This is the regular Nick Klein cover, and he's doing it in a style after Mobius. I really liked that. The purple hues are pretty cool. At first glance, you almost think Deadpool's going up against Galactus, but then you realize it's just the Regurgitator. And we also learn why the Regurgitator was sent in this particular instance. He was the right man for the job. Same deal with Deadpool. Death of Inhumans #2, another Donny Cates book. If you didn't read this, I highly recommend it. The man killed a dog in the first issue. I'm not going to tell you who he kills or who he looks like he's killed in this issue, but this isn't just a pretty title, as the man says. This is Death of the Inhumans. So I'm enjoying this, excited to continue following along. Deathstroke vs. Batman. This is Deathstroke issue 34. Continues the Deathstroke vs. Batman storyline. They do battle inside the Batcave in this particular issue, and I'm actually enjoying kind of the subdued Robin storyline here. So that's what's keeping me engaged in this. I'll continue following through the end of this story arc. Here is the variant by Francisco Matina. I almost think he started drawing this cover thinking he was doing a Flash cover and then realized he needed to get Batman on there real fast. The lightning, the red hues, it just reminiscent of a Flash cover of recent. Love that Matina though. Immortal Hulk issue 4. I am enjoying this so much. It's one of the ones I look forward to the most when I get my pull list. Al Ewing, Joe Bennett on art. I really love the Sasquatch background that we're getting here too. Alpha Flight, it's time for a resurgence. The Great White North will rise again. Infinity Wars, #1, finally. We're past all the preludes. I skipped all the one-offs, and I'm just going to keep following the core Infinity Wars story here, seeing what Requiem has in store for the Stones. And I think it's interesting when you read the book, you'll notice that there's something missing from the cover. Has to do with what Requiem's holding in her right hand. So give it a read if you don't know what I'm alluding to there. It was a really thick book too. That surprised me how thick Infinity Wars was. Legion of Doom, #1? Justice League #5? Just embrace the evil, guys. It doesn't matter. This is a wonderful read. I enjoyed understanding where Luthor was coming from, how he pulled the team together, and just be yourself, guys. Here is the variant cover, Jim Lee and Scott Williams. And I was lucky enough, and attitude of gratitude for the shop for setting aside the 1 in 100 Cyborg variant. So that is pretty sharp looking. And I really do enjoy how in these pencil sketches you get to see the draft lines. You can tell how the artist puts their signature right up against the border where it's going to cut. And that's actually indicative of the other cover that we just saw. You can see just a little bit how this is cut a little closer to the signature, excludes the draft lines. And then we come back here, and you see it's a little wider shot. There are the draft lines there. More brick exposed here. Just a hair. It's also interesting that on this sketch, it's a different signature here than on here. Here, Jim Lee 1 line, Williams below. Jim Lee 2 lines, only 1 signature. Also the location of the logo switches between the 2 variants. Left side, right side. Things to be on the hunt for when you're out there looking for an authentic copy of the pencil sketch. Mr. Miracle, #10. 2 more issues in the series. Darkseid is coming for your children. Lock 'em up. There is the variant cover, and I'm gonna have to go do some rereading now that I read this story, just to remember what's been going on here and some of the details to the storyline so far. I actually like this cover as much as the Dark Side cover. The reason being, it's got happy birthday. It's supposed to be, right, the stereotypical smile at the camera and take a picture with your spread. But here you got Mr. Miracle, scot-free, unable to escape reality, and he's the unhappiest clown, if you will. He's the saddest clown at the party. And his balloon just popped, so don't take my word for it. There's a whole world about the pop. Quantum Age, number 2. This is the B variant cover, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Wilfred Torres, published by Dark Horse. From the world of Black Hammer, we are in the future, following the Quantum Age, seeing what the offspring of heroes are going to do now that heroes are no more. This is Hammer Lass on the cover, and on cover A, we see the Martian. This is actually the child version of the Martian, referencing the background story that we get here in issue 2. Spawn issue 288. This is the black and white variant, and also the cover A colored version. Frank Miller's Xerxes, The Fall of the House of Darius and the Rise of Alexander. I'm a huge history buff, especially when it comes to Macedonia and Greece, so to see this story done in this way, and then to have the moment between the leaders there at the end, even though they never actually communicate verbally face to face, there is definitely an interaction between those two kings, and I enjoyed the art in this book. It was one of those things where you had to take it a page at a time to really be able to enjoy it and understand it. And if you are reading this, I'm not going to lie, I had to go remind myself that we count BC years in reverse, so I thought that I was reading the whole story backwards, or they were telling the story backwards, but in reality I just forgot how to count my BC years. Last but not least, for all the nostalgia, Astonishing X-Men, number 14. Written by Matthew Rosenberg, drawn by Greg Land. Rosenberg does a great job with the writing. Land not only has a nice nostalgic cover here, but he's got some great nostalgic costumes thrown into the writing also. I love the background here on the cover. Dazzler's clearly the star of the show here, but she might be the headliner, but she's got an amazing supporting cast. Havoc, Beast, and they might not own the copyright to X-Men, but they are something like the X-Men they continue to refer to themselves as. Again, Havoc, Beast, X-Men. Dazzler is the headliner, though. Let there be no mistake. She saves the day. I'm going to continue following this X-Men team. I hope that they are able to use the word X-Men. Maybe Kitty Pryde will be kind enough to allow that to happen. We'll have to see what happens in the ongoing issues. We'll have to see what happens as the story unfolds before our eyes. Thanks for checking out the haul this week. I hope you got some good books from your pull list also. If you saw anything you liked or have any questions, leave a comment below. This is your channel. I enjoy interacting with the community. Let me know what you think should be dropped or added from the weekly pull list. And remember, the best hunting is happy hunting. Colorado Comic Book Kid, signing off.